Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, Miss Thompson.
All right. This is your bell ringer for today. What we are doing is converting 56 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. Everyone has come in, taking your seat. You have out your paper and pencil. Let's begin to work. You have 5 minutes. As you know, for the bell ringer, we only have 5 minutes. So go ahead and do the problem. Once you get done, we'll have someone to come up and work it. I'm gonna walk around and check. Is everybody doing okay so far on the bell ringer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I have about 3 more minutes. All right, y'all have about another 2 minutes. Or if you are done, then we can go ahead and roll on. Is everybody done?
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your hand if you're not done. Chad, you're not done? Okay, we'll give you a few more minutes. All right. Okay, bell ringer. Who would like to work the bell ringer? Okay, let's see. We're going to pull up our spin wheel and see what desk number we have. All right, we have 20 students. Do a number one. All right. We have 1 to 20. Let's see. Who who's going to be our lucky bell ringer person for today. All right, we have desk number 15. Who is that we have? Zacoby. All right, Zacoby, let's go. Let's do the bell ringer. Everyone else, make sure you pay attention. Follow along. Everyone else follow along. What answer did everyone have for the bell ringer? Everyone. What do we have?
13.
So everyone had 13? Yes. All right, well, Zacoby is going to work. And make sure you're checking your paper as he is going along. All right, Zacoby. We're going to go step by step. The first order of operation. First, give me the formula for converting Fahrenheit to Celsius. What is the formula?
Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 1.8.
The formula is C equals 32 . The degree Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 1.8. Let's check to see if the problem is correct. Okay, so we know that we need to get the degree Fahrenheit. I gave you the number for the degree Fahrenheit, which is what? 56. So, when it comes to doing order of operation, we're going to go by PEMDAS. According to PEMDAS, what's your first order of operation? What's inside the parentheses? Good job. So, our Fahrenheit is unknown, but I gave you the Fahrenheit in the problem. What's the number for the Fahrenheit?
56.
So we're going to plug 56 where?
In the parentheses.
In the parentheses where it says degree Fahrenheit. C equals 56 minus 32. Let's do our first order of operation. 56 minus 32 is?
24.
24. What's our next order of operation?
2 divide that 24 by 8.
Divide the 24 by what?
1.8.
1.8. Why are we divided by 1.8?
That's the next step in
That's the next step in the problem. We have to look at our formula. Look at your equation. 24 divided by 1.8 is what?
13.
Was it 13 or was it a decimal at first?
13.3.
13.3. But we're not going to write that number as a decimal. We need to do what?
Rounded.
So that we can have a whole number. 13.333 is what?
13.
13.
Why is it 13? Because the number behind the decimal is... Alright, tell us, Jakar.
Because the number behind the decimal isn't over 5.
The number behind the decimal is less than 5. So the number gonna stay the same. We will not round up. Our answer is 13 degrees Celsius. So was Zacoby correct?
Yes.
Y'all tell Zacoby, great job, everybody. Great job. All right. What we're going to do next, we're going to do a recap. You know that we've gone over the weather. We're going over the weather. The first thing we had to do was discuss the water cycle. It was our first thing, discussing the water cycle. All right. When it comes to the water cycle, so let's review the water cycle. When it comes to the water cycle, we know that there are 3 steps to the water cycle. What are the 3 steps?
Precipitation.
What's the first step?
Evaporation.
What's the second step?
Condensation.
And what is the third step? Precipitation. The first step is evaporation. The second step is condensation. And the third step is precipitation. The first step, evaporation. Who would like to tell me what happens during evaporation? Jakari, speak loud and clear so we can hear you.
Water vapor goes into clouds.
The first step, when it comes to evaporation, who Who would like to help Jakari out and tell us what happens? Talicia.
During evaporation, it's after it rains and the evaporation be
Steam on top of water. Okay. All right. Who else would like to help us out? Howard.
It's when the sun heats up the water and the water turns into vapor and it goes up in the sky into the clouds, and then it eventually makes the clouds dark until where it fills up, and then soon once it fills up all the way up, it rains down back onto the earth just to repeat it again.
All right. Thank you, Howard. So Howard has gone through all the steps. We're gonna take it step by step. As you heard, Howard told us during the stage of evaporation, that's when the sun heats up the water. Then you have, what is that steam that looks like steam sitting on top of the water?
Water vapor.
It's called water vapor. That's what happens during that stage of evaporation. The sun heats up the water, there's steam. If you notice, we have right here in town, there's a pond. And if you pay attention to that pond, a lot of times you'll see where it looks like steam is sitting on top of that pond. That's a great example of evaporation. That's when that vapor or that steam is rising up out of the water. So we have the first step, which is evaporation. Our next step is
Condensation.
what happens during condensation. Ariana.
the water goes into the air and forms clouds.
The water goes into the air. Once it goes into the air, it turns
Cold.
Once it turns cold, it forms
Clouds.
It forms clouds. But once it forms those clouds we know they get too heavy. Once they get too heavy, they have to release that water. What is that last step? Leah? Precipitation. What happens during precipitation? Who would like to tell us what happens during precipitation? Tayshawn, let us know what happens during precipitation.
When the clouds get too heavy, they release water in several separate forms.
They release that water. That's our last step, which is precipitation. Once it releases that water, we know it goes back into the earth, it goes back into the atmosphere. And then what happens?
It's collection.
Collection. Great job. That's the answer I was looking for. I wanted to see if you all remember. What happens during collection, Tayshawn?
Collection is when all the water gets transported back into the seas, waters, and oceans.
Collection is when that water goes back into the earth, it goes back into the seas, it goes back into the ocean, it goes back into the rivers and the lakes. And what happens is that water cycle starts
All over again.
all over again. Great job. So everybody remember the water cycle.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we have two. No. How many pressure systems are there?
Two.
Two. What are they?
High pressure system and a low pressure system.
High pressure system and low pressure system. We know that high pressure system consists of a capital.
H.
Low pressure system consists of a capital.
L.
High pressure system, they are different. One consists of good weather and the other one consists of bad weather. Which one is good weather? High pressure is the good weather.